You're live. Congratulations. What's up, fam? Elliot, good to be here. It's a bit of a spontaneous transmission, like super spontaneous. I was kind of thinking I would uh, make like a more formal video on this topic, uh, but I just got out of the shower and I laid down on my bed and it's comfortable. And I just was like checking in on things. I was like, oh, you know what? I could probably just do it now. Random convo. Anybody? So here I am. Uh, Lots of fun, huh? These waves. So much opportunity to deepen in understanding. Of note, and maybe a good reminder for us all, I was listening to the Kabbalion, the teachings of the Hermetic principles by three initiates or something like that. I don't know. I just downloaded it and I listened to it amongst other things. Anyways, so I was listening to it again, not for the first time. I've heard it a bunch of times, uh, but fuck me, like listening to it today, last night, tonight, like just and the portions with which like I find myself consciously paying attention. It's like, have I heard this before? Cause that's brilliant. Why the fuck haven't I like applied that or understood that or did I hear that before? And the truth is, no, no, you didn't, because everything sounds different every time you hear it. Blah 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 blah. Just like a reminder that like just because you read a book or you read an article or you wrote a book or you wrote an article or you had a conversation or you didn't have a conversation or she said he said anything like that, just because doesn't mean it. Just because doesn't mean is. And like there's always more. There's always more to learn. There's always more to apply and integrate and shit. Anyways, so the theme of the day is defining to nurture and measuring being. So, considering that I've been really open to those influences beyond my kind of regular work, it's like this is really comfortable. I'm not seeing myself this close, but like if I see other YouTube videos and like the face is like this close, I'm just kind of like that's a pretty close face. So I'll do that for you. I think that there's a reason. I mean, there's obviously a reason, but this is the reason that I'm thinking for the focus on uh, separation. And you can look at that in any kind of in any terms. I listened to a really great kind of like astrology report, starseed astrology report by Bora. She's starseed energetics. That alien is fucking phenomenal. No, legit. She is the real deal. If you haven't checked her out before, and you find me entertaining or insightful or anything like that, Starseed Energetics. If you go on my channels, there's a whole fucking bunch that I subscribe to and I make them public because if you ever check them out, there's like any one of those is really worth your time, I think. So, anyways, I was listening to her, and she fuck. was I saying? I got distracted. Anyways, it'll come back to me. Obviously the most important part was for me to express that her and that you should check her out because she's fucking brilliant. But that's what uh, she mentioned, and we're probably all feeling this because there's such an urge for coming together, like collectively in cells and groups. The nature of abandonment and separation and such, and that is really a plague, like a mental virus of our social memory complex, which is really healing right now. And it's totally enforced, it's totally conditioned, and there's more than one way of looking at that. There's one way of looking at it in that like it's maliciously done because it totally is. It's in someone's best interest to manipulate others for their own benefit, and even if their own benefit is only in the scope of what they believe is their own benefit, and it's actually not for their own benefit, but they're so small-minded that they think that the small happiness that they're achieving is actual happiness that they fucking fuck other people. uh, it's still doing it. Whatever, moving right along. Also, you could consider like that, like fucked up people do fucked up shit because it's like the best that we can do, but not the best that we can do as like a ceiling. The best that we can do, as in like when I was four, I was like I don't know, a foot and a half, 2 feet tall, and at 14 I was like 5'4" or 5'3". At 15 I was like 6 foot. Like you grow. Sometimes rapidly. And when it's rapid, sure shit is it awkward, you know. And truth be told, part of my thinking and understanding is a little bit rooted in something else that she said in her reading. I think it was the Pleiadian, like March 2019, or the Arcturian, March 2019. It's the only two she's got up from March 2019, and they're fucking awesome and timeless. Check it out. Anyways, uh, she had a dream uh, where she was reliving like a past, like a present past. And in her dream, it was like the moment, it like the kind of the beginning of separation as like a construct. And so she's dreaming and she's just fucking like slaying all kinds of people and poking people's eyes out and shit. Like literally her words. So I'm guessing literally happened in her dream. And best part about it, for her, for me, for the dream, for the truth, was the guiltless, shameless nature of her wanton violence. That actually strikes a really good chord with me. But that's the topic of another conversation. For now, how it pertains to this is by identifying a beginning of a state. It lent me towards thinking of an end of a state, or with a beginning. Really, it's just a continuation, but there's like a phase, a state change, like a point at which, you know, vapor becomes water, for instance. So here we are, and I believe that we're going through a state change. Ha 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 ha, obviously. But like, in terms of relationships, and I mean with everything is relationships, so let's point that out. And I'm not saying that as a cliche or anything except that it's important to note again, like you've never heard it before, because as we continue to speak more personally about um, like intimate human to human, soul to soul, spirit to spirit relationships that are much more maybe personally relatable, it is powerful to recall that everything is relationship. My relationship with this cord, my relationship with this sweater, everything, my relationship with this fucking phone camera thing. Like, just remember that. Anyways, moving on. Um, so, what does the end of, or the polar opposite of the beginning of separation look like? And it doesn't look like the beginning of unity. It looks like the end of separation, right? Because unity is would be like the state, and then if we're moving this way in time, then it's like unity, and it's the beginning of unity. It's actually beginning is here, unity, beginning going that way, separation's over there, and it's so it's more like the end of separation than anything. So what's the end of separation look like? And it has a lot to do with what we define as relationships. Now I'm going to skip around a little bit. Ha. We're told a lot of bullshit. I've come to really appreciate that if I haven't seen history with my own eyes, um, then it's I can't trust it. And if it doesn't make sense to me, then I especially can't trust it. And if it lends itself towards a world not making any sense, then it's probably a fucking lie. So that said, we are told that people don't really historically didn't really marry for love. They married for status and property and such. And that could be like a half truth. Like before then, there was no bullshit like legal term because there was no law. People loved each other. And there was family, and there was less rules, structure, strict restrictions around it, whatever. It's like it, I don't walk around being like, um, I have a nose, I have a nose, I have a nose, I have a nose, I have a nose. Hey, I'm Elliot, I have a nose. Uh, First of all, you can see it, and also it does. Okay, cool. In that regard, it's like I'm a father and I'm a husband. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. I can see that. You want you why? What's the ring for? You know what I mean? Anyways, but with a fake ass history like that, it plants the seed that um, the initial like the initial input of birth of the concept of um, two people getting together was is and that necessity is material and external, and that's bullshit. That's straight bullshit. I'll tell you how and why really easily. Uh, YouTube the fuck out of um, cute ass animals loving their children, and that's why they want to take the soul and spirit out of humanity. Fine, try. But if you want to go that way, then look at what we apparently are, beasts, and they fucking love. They fucking love their children. They fucking love their family. They love their tribe. That's the beginning. Period. All right. And if the argument is that as we became more civilized, that uh, marriage became, defined in those terms, then civilized is a definition of a term, and as such, that marriage and is a definition, and it's all bullshit. You see what I mean? Okay. So if we skip ahead to modern times, now we have these. Now it's like we've evolved. Now we're all really into marrying for love, because We're lovers. And and because we're so fucking modern, and we've got so many people around, we all suffer from the paradox of choice. Like we can all love, we're all lovers, but there's just so many to choose from. Uncle Ben over in the farm uh, didn't have very many options, and Auntie uh, Eleanor uh, did happen to be smoking hot, but there wasn't a lot of other options. So like they got along, they married, whatever, neighbors, and there's something true to that because really, it's not an accident how we get closer to the people that we're meant to, or not meant to, like in a soul spirit attraction, evolutionary, better for the universe, better for the universal mind kind of way. And all of that pretty much sums up the totality of like the psychology of relationships, as far as its roots. And like in our culture or society, the way the thing is rooted pretty much defines the thing, which it really limits it. So again, that's bullshit because the insidious kind of half hidden limitation is is the true nature of uh, relationship and creation and purpose and support by nature and universe, blah blah blah. So let's consider it instead. I'm gonna kind of, because I used it in the title, so I suppose I might as well speak of it in terms of the Hermetic principles. If you're not familiar with them, Google or just listen and build your own familiarity. Namaste. I love you. Everything is mind. Um, everything is polar. Law of rhythm, and everything is gender. That's pretty much the things that we're going to talk about. Everything is mind. Yeah, basically that everything is mental, and you can think of that in terms of in two ways, and you should absolutely and relatively. Absolutely, it's kind of like a, well, I guess that's kind of obvious, like if you didn't have a mind, you wouldn't be having an experience. So, in like an absolute way, everything is mental, and as we are an aspect of that everything, then you extrapolate it, and everything in the universe is mental. And then relatively, you can think of it in terms of just scaling it down to like your physical body and having a mental experience. So sitcoms, media, our supposed history, the stories that we tell about our families, all the stories we tell, all of it conditions the nature with which we can assume that people get together with other people. Basically, you go about doing your thing and you get set up like arranged. You get lucky, right? Because you have to be lucky, or if you're in love, you're lucky. And dating, anyways, it's chance. Like basically, you gotta like run up and meet people, and then if you end up meeting someone, like a lot of marriages happen at college, or you meet them at work, or a lot of affairs occur out of work. I don't know, actually, according to media and TV, I'd say that. And basically, in my experience too, maybe not so much personally, but from what I've seen. And that's just not the case. Those are all really peripheral, external expressions of a deeper aspect of reality and it affects everything and everyone, and that's just um, frequency and resonance and I guess in a way uh, magnetism. So imagine a world where maybe a telepathic world where it's not so much that like everybody can read everybody else's thoughts. It's just everybody's in a lot more in tune with themselves and with each other and the environment. It's like they're all kind of um, it's almost like when like you see a friend, like a good friend, but not a best friend, and you just know that there's something, maybe they're having a good day or maybe they're having a bad day. In that way, imagine a world where you can just you have a sense of that um, in terms of everything, you know, your car, your the way the path you're going to take to get to wherever you're going, and then and that same friend, or especially like your closer cluster of friends, but they don't have to be in your physical vicinity. You just kind of know because it's being communicated, and there's like a physical mechanism for that, and there's a physical experience for that. But that's time for another talk. So imagine a world like that. I imagine a world like that. That you wouldn't be dating, or one wouldn't have to wonder. Um, there wouldn't be like this hunting. This wouldn't be this chasing and running. There wouldn't be um, loneliness. Wouldn't be experienced as the kind of despaired. It's all my fault, or it's all the world's fault kind of experience. Instead, you almost wouldn't even consider it, except as like a tugging or an idea, because the way lovers connect and it's like the way everything connects is through honesty and that honesty of your being, and so you just kind of in that way you kind of and then you develop this like stronger and stronger sense for this other person, and then like your friends kind of they know you or whatever, and they're like, oh shit, you're falling, you're falling in love, for instance. Or I was gonna try and make up some fucking future word, but like let's just not make like it's complicated enough. And you're like, yeah, and like who is he? He's like, I don't know. And then you kind of describe the experience. It's like you're feeling it, or you're seeing like visions or anything like that. He's like, but I have no idea. Uh, and you still don't have to like do anything until like you know what you have to do. You know, And if that was just the way of it, then I imagine like there wouldn't be very many historical documents or like epics, or just like fucking shit written down, regaling um, like that naturalness. You know, it's like we got more important things to write down, like shit we're finding out or shit we want to remember, but we'd never think we'd forget this, and boom, it happened. So imagine a world like that. It sounds pretty sweet, right? What gets in the way of that? Not fucking much. Because at that point, there's so much understanding. But here's what gets in the way of it, and this is what gets in the way with every single relationship. I was almost gonna title this, but I didn't want to fucking like clickbait it. Also because I'm very careful about making my shit not popular of a sort, because I'm getting more inclined to speak more clearly, and the caution I must take is the more clearly I explain things, the more the more easily it can be mistaken that you understand. So if you don't understand, you're in a really good place. Then you're fucking picking up what I'm putting down. Because I want you to think about it and make it yours. And maybe don't understand, but have it like be planted a question, like, huh, and then it ends up popping up somewhere else because you're curious. The principle of rhythm dictates basically mood, emotion, almost everything. Kind of oscillates between its um, poles. And the principle of polarity is that um, opposites are not separate. Opposites are actually the same thing, but only different by degree. So as you um, step in degree towards the opposite, you meet the opposite and become the opposite. So it's not, so they're not separate. They are linked. Um, and in this way, you can, and it's in this way that you can learn a very powerful technique, um, like choice of being, in which you can convert, transmute, alchemically, the one mood or emotion or instance to another. Another kind of cool quote that stuck with me, so I guess it was personally resonant. Maybe I'll share it because I thought it was cool. Like hearing it again, but hearing it like this, I was like, yeah, oh yeah, like that's a really, yeah, or just like it's like a super high five thing, but maybe it's actually just like the super British like Oxford voice that the guy has that makes everything sound fucking awesome. But to paraphrase, because I can't remember the exact words, basically, um, like transmutation is a skill of the master, like the alchemical master, whereas basically the fool um, denies or like like sensed yeah, more or less. Yeah, okay, so you know what, that wasn't profound at all. He says it really cool. I either listen to it or read the book. Anyways, moving on. So everything is rhythm. There's a correspondence. That's another principle. It's just basically things are connected, kind of like cause and effect. In fact, I think that might be the principle. The correspondence is the principle of cause and effect. Anyways, moving on. So basically, now I want you to imagine with me, if you're still with me, holla holla, and if you are, you're about to get a gem. So, boy meets girl, girl meets boy. I'm being heteronormative because it's convenient. And it's like gender, it's also like, I don't know, gender indicative. So that's the most effort I'm gonna take at being fucking uh, sensitive towards bullshit. You want to take offense? Take offense. I don't give a fuck because I respect you. I don't care. Do your thing. If you think I don't because of bullshit words, then I really don't care. You can go fuck yourself. Now stay. So boy meets girl, girl meets boy. They both really fucking like each other. So like the pendulum swings towards fucking obsession, infatuation, lust, or honeymoon stage, whatever you want to fucking call it, right? Like the first year, the first 6 months, the first whatever, that stage. Well, what goes up must come down. So it's gonna happen. So maybe it happens at the same time, because that never happens. Chances are one of them's gonna is gonna it's gonna swing, and then the other one they're still there, and because of that fact, one of them is, they start to wonder because, like, oh gosh, that happens, it always happens, brr, 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 and then, you can make all kinds of excuses, and then, because we do, not you, we, like, that's, we do, right? And then they swing away. And then the other one, maybe it stayed up a little longer, whatever, but then they swing away too. Because it's rhythmic and it's evolutionary. Eventually, like in this um, narrow alchemical perspective, if they're really in tune with each other, they're aware of this pendulum swing, so they're patient and they get back. They both, and they can kind of stay aligned. So as they swing towards each other, they're both there at the same time, and as they swing away from each other, they're both like, I need some space, me too, boom, and then they do that. Maybe that's what all this polyamorous relationship bullshit is really like the best case scenario of. If you took offense to that, go fuck yourself. Oh shit. Uh, I'm offensive. But basically, it's like just boom, 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 boom. That sucks. That sucks, and that's really the best case scenario. When it happens in all relationships because there is a way out of that cycle consistently, and like I want to say even permanently, because like a choice, it's a kind of choice once made is a choice stayed, you know. But like let's look at let's look at the happy marriages, the in the those best case happy marriages. This is happening, but they just deal with it, right? They're just not happy, and they call it happiness. Sound familiar? Like the world. So that really sucks. And it doesn't have to be that way. And there's no way around it. Inevitably, that happens. Because when you're unconscious to, like, laws, and I don't mean legal, because those are lies, but like principles of the universe, then you can work with them. And if you're unaware of them, you are their bitches. All right. But as you grow in self mastery, you can, uh, and I've spoken to this in another video, you can skip, like, okay, so like, I feel great, I feel less great, I feel great, I hate life, like that is familiar, isn't it? And as you grow in self mastery, in my own experience, it almost feels like instead of it being like, I feel great, like I want to die, like it's almost like the pendulum just got more level until I guess that's a good analogy for frequency, right? Like this would be a lower frequency than this. You just saw sperm. You did. You did. I know you did. You're wicked. You're like, oh, it was a tadpole. Uh, that's so when like you're not feeling so amazing about anything, and it's not for any reason, you can almost when you almost feel like it because you can tell when it's the principle of rhythm where you're just basically you've been on fucking a roll for a while, and then you're like, ah, shit. You can change that. You can shift to avoid that backward spin because what's going on is it's taking you back down to the lower frequencies. And without getting too, I don't want to get too much into like the math of it, uh, but a basic like tool in alchemy is using the like higher frequencies to manipulate lower frequencies. And so it's like using higher laws against lower laws, or rules, higher rules against lower rules. The converse, the way you would also take advantage of that from the bottom up, because I'm not a big fan of like this discrimination of all the low frequencies and everything like that. I think that's part of the problem. But the way that you would use it is with awareness. You can like take advantage of like knowing what's happening in the higher realms. You can take advantage of that to like almost exponentially expand on the lower frequency because that's the thing. Higher frequency is like really high energy, short space. Low frequency is low amount of energy, but like fucking grand space. So you can almost take like a large, like a super potent amount of energy in a tight space, and then drop it down to a lower frequency, and it's just like, bam, where'd all that shit come from? Food for thought. So in that way, going back to relationship, because I'm just about done this video, uh, you gotta make it hard. Uh, Still true. Namaste. Oh fuck. This is really what I was down for, man. I just want to have some fun, have a good combo, and talk some things out so that I could integrate them a little bit. That's what good friends. That's what friends are for, man. That's what like tribe is for. Talking about stuff that matters to you, growing together and laughing and shit. So when now let's go, boy meets girl, girl meets boy, they're all fucking lovey dovey and they get together. When the rhythm is as such that it was starting to like it's ready to like go the other way, you cannot stop that. You cannot stop that. The manner with which it will go away will do that because that is like that's how it got there, right? That's the rhythm is like a motive force, so you can't change that. But what you can do is as you get here, as it's about to go like back down, you can like jump frequency. So you're this is let's just like let's yeah, something like that, okay? So as you go up and you go back down, what's going on here at a higher frequency is like this. And then just a little higher than that is going like that. So as you go up and down to go back up, this little bit in between here is actually being spanned by a higher frequency, right? So with awareness, two people can enjoy these like um, slower but bigger waves of like fucking awesomeness, right? That are really dense and really physical, right? And as they wait, as they do their rhythm thing, and as they will, uh, with awareness and detection, you can uh, jump to like ride a higher frequency of awareness and be so. I say one of the biggest impacts that can have is just knowing that there ain't nothing wrong with you guys, right? It's like it's like oh now I don't now it's like I don't feel the same way anymore. It's like oh, it always happens, whatever. Let's just say I'm good at jumping vibrations um, unconsciously, and then seeing the fucking aftermath of not being on the same wavelength. I've just got a little dead skin here. That's what this is. That's keeps annoying the shit out of me. Now you know. Calloused yoga hands. I guess in almost like in the most relatable way, it's almost like this is like the very physical or like infatuation blah 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 wave where and you can imagine if you've had a relationship for long enough, it's like whoa whoa whoa, and then time passes and you're like oh, okay, and then all of a sudden it's like oh man, we're just fucking yeah crazy or something like that. It's usually like this is like baby stage. um, if it's not like here. We're like, oh man, we should break up or something like that. And then you get a baby and you're like, oh shit. And so you're on all the way up and like you're going back towards like the, but now like you've got a fucking newborn and all you can do is it's like sleep and struggle to survive because the world makes it especially hard for you to be happy after you've procreated so that you a little bit hate all human beings. Um, but if you can like if you're aware of rhythms and just not take shit personally, but instead connect cosmically, telepathically, universally, lovely, then when you're aware of those kind of frequency rhythmic shifts, you can jump you can jump waves and like a little Dr. Phil, like the best way that occurs is when you talk about it. So just when you communicate, like, hey, like I'm like, and not like I'm not really feeling you so hard. Cause like when you're there, you're like, that's not true at all. I don't know what it is. And not knowing what it is, it's like must be something wrong. There's nothing wrong. It's just that we're not educated about the truth. You know, rhythm's beautiful. Because if without rhythm, this is what this is what um this is what like that looks like. It's like you just get now because you like it's not like fucking Moore's law bullshit. It's not. It's like, oh, we're really good, and it just gets better and better forever. It's like no, it never went. It didn't go like that. Oh, now you're going nowhere. It's the same fucking thing over and over again. Like, shoot me in the head. That's most relationships. Oh yeah, because it's unconscious. But consciously, it can actually go like that. Because that when you're here and it goes down, but you stay up here. And then that low frequency, low moving up here, it's its new bottom, its new trough is up here because you were like, I'm not going back down there. And then you go like that. And that's how actually fuck, that's brilliant. Thanks for talking with me because I just figured that out with you. One of the other principles is gender, and in this book it speaks like all acts of creation are applications of the gender principle. Everything requires like the masculine feminine aspects. If you're offended, really go fuck yourself. You'd feel a lot better. Like serious. And if you're never mind, moving right along. Because doing that you can do this is like ascension. This is you doing it on your own. Like you take yourself and then instead of going back down, you kind of like stay at like you learn to choose and you skip and then you kind of you ride the waves and and this is how you raise your frequency. Damn. Uh, but you know like play one chord on a guitar. And I don't mean like a sorry, play one like string. I don't know. I don't know terms. Just one of the strings and then play a chord. And you know some chords when they get played together it's like not only is it louder but it's like harmonious and like something the universe happens. All of us on our own are chords within ourselves. We're strings and we can play ourselves like a chord because every single unit is a male and female is masculine and feminine. But then as a single unit in relation to other units, the principle applies. So as much as I can do that on my own with my like a complement my complementary unit, which would be a feminine or a masculine, depending on what we're looking at, but just it would be what I'm not, but complemented by, then it just increases. It's resonant. Fuck, that's brilliant. Okay, I'm gonna end on that. I hope you grabbed it. This is a little bit long, but as you can tell, I kind of needed to talk it out a little bit. Um, since it's a little long one, I'm gonna say a couple things that I usually don't say because if you're still with me, you deserve some bonuses. One bonus. I in the bottom in the description box, I have my email. It says free conversation. It's not a joke. All right. I've counseled young people. So for me, young people is like uh, as young as like 9, but really teenagers to young adults, especially for about 15 years. Yeah. And I've been doing the same for about 6 or 7 with adults. I'm a really good listener. And that's what most people just need. So if with all this ascension stuff or life stuff or confusion stuff or just like, wow, I feel really fucking lonely because nobody understands what the fuck what's going on with me. I don't even understand what's going on with me. What the fuck is going on? Oh my God. If you feel like that, shoot me an email. And that's not a conversation. I'm not gonna lie. What it does is start or continue the process so that maybe we can do some like webcam stuff. That sounded awesome. Maybe we get a phone call or email or whatever you're comfortable with. But like, uh, or you just have like a question you want really examined, do it. Holler at me, and I'll help you. And it's and free because I really appreciate the hidden costs that we assume everything has. So with this, just assume you've paid it already, and I've been paid already, and so you just have this coming already. All right. And then last, I'm super excited. It's the 23rd. So the next wave spell, I am coming out with a new show. It's like I'm starting another channel. It's gonna be like a brother channel. What up? uh, or I'm just like super structuring uh, some of the stuff that I know. You're gonna learn shit tons for sure because I'm gonna be teaching and explaining things or whatever. But I'm very much gonna be making fun of things, having fun with things, and just kind of doing what I do best, which is like taking a bunch of like things and people and communities that seem to have nothing to do with each other and um, putting them in the room in one room or on one screen and being like, see, you're the same. And it's kind of modeling it after like like a late night show, but talking about uh, the new old world. Oh, it's so fun! I can't wait. Stay tuned. All right, that's it. I hope that you got as much value of this as I did, and thank you for watching because I love you and we are in this together. All right, namaste. I really actually do have hard times sometimes, or even a lot. In fact, you'd be surprised, but you'd be surprised by a fuck ton. Anyways, thanks for being here for and helping me feel really connected and inspiring, like and inspiring these good times, you know, and being the effect of my cause of
my own choosing, which my mood as my own pendulum swings.
All right, cool. Well, I guess that was the little like last piece of nugget that I love you. Word up to the bird. Namaste.